Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Celestia Radio's Canterlot Cross-Fade. Get your bodies ready, ponies, it's time for the most profane, unadulterated, uncensored 2 hours your mind can fucking handle. Just two dudes talking news, events, music, and what the fuck ever else we can think of. Canterlot Cross-Fade, starting right now on Celestia Radio.
What is up, everybody? DJK here for another episode of Canterlot Cross-Fade, of course, joined with my trusty co-host, the man with the beard, Shamrock. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
It's been a Sunday.
It has been a Sunday. I'm ready for another CCF. All right, when was last week we had one, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
We've been keeping up this whole, every week. It's all good. Some fantastic times today. I think this might be our first one we had totally on time.
Other than the first one.
Other than the first one, which we were super prepared for. So fantastic stuff. We're ready to get this show on the road. We got some cool stuff going on today. I mean, wow, we had a great start to Season 4 yesterday and our lovely show with the good folks over at Brony State, which we do every Saturday now during the seasons of My Little Pony. We do a little broadcast cooperated with Brony State. They do the stream and show the episode while we do some commentary on it at CR. And we also do a pre-show 30 minutes before the episode and a post-show for like the half hour to hour afterwards, called the post-show throwdown this season. So we're happy about that. And we had a very successful one yesterday, I think. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, it's probably the best that we've had so far, which is saying something considering we did that for all of Season 3.
Yeah.
So we're off to a better start than we were last year, that's certainly sure.
Yeah, very much so. And I think both not only in terms of our show, but also in terms of the show itself. We talked a lot yesterday about it, but, in particular, just, wow. I mean, so much stuff with that first episode. And we talked the shit out of it yesterday. But just kind of reflecting back and really, letting it settle, letting it sort of seep in and thinking about it. Like, I read some stuff on the internet on Tumblr, was of course blowing up with it, as well as Doctor Who, of course. There was a shitload of that. But
yeah, the internet reached critical mass yesterday, as who put it that way yesterday.
Nearly exploded. I mean,
but it was a good time. It was definitely a good Saturday. Best I've had in a while.
Oh, yeah. But just, everybody going absolutely crazy over it. Some of the folks that, I saw a great explanation of it, of the 4 seasons so far. Someone had put Season 1, description, it was like ponies, ponies, ponies. And Season 2 is all caps, like ponies, 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 like people just going crazy over it. Season 3, I'm leaving the fandom forever. And then, they're coming back in with Season 4, again, all caps, ponies, ponies, ponies. So I think they've really made up for what a lot of people felt about Season 3. And this first pilot episode for Season 4 just felt like one of the best episodes by far in this series, I want to say. I dare say it's probably, aside from maybe the wedding, this is probably, I would dare say this is the greatest, two-parter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there that, I'm not sure if it best the wedding, but I'm not gonna get into some, deep, well-thought-out analysis of,
right.
well, the planning of the wedding episode compared to the Season 4 episode. They were both kick-ass episodes that, when I watched them both, just, jaw dropped. Holy shit, what is happening right now?
Yeah. I think I think it's hard to beat. It's very hard to beat the sudden what the fuckery of end of season 2 with, I always talk about it, the fire dragging Twilight down to hell, followed by one of the most amazing songs in the entire series so far with the This Day aria. And it's hard to top that singular moment with anything. I don't think it's been done yet, but we won't get into spoilers or anything, but there were definitely certain parts yesterday of the episode, just, certain battle elements that were pretty amazing, for the short moments that they were. So
hashtag lasers. That'll
hashtag lasers. That's precisely it. That's the whole episode. Other than tentacle rape, that was another part of that. I think this episode, more than any other, had Rule 34 coming out of the walls faster than any other moment in MLP history.
Like 10 minutes in. Boom.
Like, literally 10 minutes. It was just like, oh, well, there it is. It was
there
just like...
And being Celestia Radio, we got our hands on it first, of course. We were commenting on that while the episode was airing. Oh, look at that! Yep, that's a vine, and it's doing that thing. Yep.
That's a thing that's happening. I mean, like, there was someone even said it. I remember reading on Tumblr. They were like, man, if they didn't put more elements into this, like, that's Rule 34 oriented, like, just one of the greatest pictures, you might have seen this picture, I don't know, it was like blowing up on Tumblr, someone had made, and it had just the sign. It didn't have anything actually explicit in the image, but it just had a sign in the front that said Rule 34, and it had like all of the elements from that two-parter episode, and like in the frame of that one picture, and someone went, "Yep, this is pretty much an entire description of what happened in the first 2 episodes. Is this?" And even though nothing explicit, it was very obvious. Between just there's a lot. Just go watch it if you haven't seen it yet. The 1080p's on YouTube. I actually watched it at work yesterday. As soon as I got on, I looked on Tumblr, and they're like, "Oh, here it is." Like 3 o'clock, it was up. So, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Definitely worth it. I have a feeling, we'll probably have lots to talk about Season 4 and a lot of its themes in the coming weeks as more episodes are done and revealed to us, more of the overall story, which is definitely interesting. But that's something. Please go tune in. When we do that, you'll be able to go listen on CR. We need to talk to the Brony State guys and see if they'll do the pre-show on their end as well. But for sure, if you go to CelestiaRadio.com, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Central, that's 8 a.m. Mountain Time. I don't know why I'm giving them Mountain Time. That's for your reference. 10 a.m. Eastern, and we have the pre-show right here on Celestia Radio with two hosts. It changes every week, so it's always a different show. It's always pretty awesome. You get to see a bunch of input, a bunch of different ideas from different folks. We usually have 2 of us and one of the Brony State folks. Then from 9:30 to 10 Central Time, when they have the episode, of course, you can go over to BronyState.net, watch it on any of their theaters. They live stream it there. Pretty good quality. We've been partners with them for a while. It's always a very good stream, and I know they're definitely top one worldwide that gets streamers. Then, of course, we also continue to do commentary during the episode on CelestiaRadio.com. So for whatever reason, it's too laggy, or you're watching it on TV, or hell, you decide that you want to hear 2 people commentate on it while it's happening, then you can go over to CelestiaRadio.com, and we'll do that during that. Then the hour-long, usually, post-show right afterwards, called the post-show throwdown. You can tune into that on Brony State or on CelestiaRadio.com. So, I think that's enough talking about things that have already happened.
Yes.
What's going to be happening in this show today?
Excellent question, Shamrock. Well, of course, thank you for tuning in. This is Canterlot Cross-Fade as Celestia Radio's, as we've called it a few times, flagship show. Episode 5 here. Original air date, in case you're listening to this again on YouTube, of November 24th, 2013. And basically, it's a radio-themed, radio-oriented talk show, as you got two radio hosts here in real life, totally IRL, not even joking, running this show. And today's topic, we're going to be talking, the main thing that we're going to be going on about is Nightmare Nights Dallas 2013. It was an excellent convention. But the overarching theme that we're going for this week is primarily the 2014 con circuit and what we have in store for conventions in 2014.
Yeah. So we've got a great show lined up today. I know that I managed to rope in, special guest Chef Sandy from Bronyville, of course, one of our podcasts that we air on Celestia Radio, with them, and of course, one of my good friends. He is the chairman of Nightmare Nights Dallas. They threw an amazing convention, as well as Bob Carr deserves a lot of credit for that. He was sort of the public face of that convention, as Sandy did all the technical stuff and made sure everything went smoothly on that end of things. I personally was down there. KB, of course, you didn't get to come down, but
Nope.
it was a banging convention and good attendance and lots of guests. Some that haven't really been out to PonyCons before, so that was really great. A lot of production staff, which is usually abnormal. Usually it's all voice actors and sometimes some writers and stuff, but we had a good blend of a handful of voice artists, a handful of artists, visual artists, a handful of writers, and a handful of the actual directors for the show, which was pretty fantastic. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk to Chef Sandy in the second half of the show, and we'll also talk about some of our ideas for the future of conventions after Season 4, what Season 4 might do to uplift or do whatever with those numbers of convention attendance. So we'll get into that in our first segment of the show, I'm sure, here on Canterlot Cross-Fade, which is coming up in just a little bit. So what do you think, just as a brief insight before we go into our first break, KB, as far as what we saw from 2013, what do you think the numbers will do in 2014?
Convention-wise, I don't know. I'm hoping that the conventions, the ones that have had a steady few past years, they're most likely going to maintain their status. They're going to survive and keep on going. I hope, because we have a lot of PonyCons, not only in the United States but just across the world. That yesterday on a podcast I was on, we listed out every single convention that we could think of that actually happens every year, and I don't even want to tell the number because I think it got up past 15 to 16. But it was a lot of different conventions, so realistically, seeing them all make it another year, probably not the most likely thing, that's going to happen. Hopefully the vast majority of them do survive. As far as fandom numbers go, hopefully we're back into a season. It's a full 26 episodes. There's no movie that's going to come out that's making people question, the motives of the studio or Hasbro, because there was a lot of negative hype surrounding Equestria Girls in a 13-episode season. That none of that is around right now going into this fourth season with 26 episodes. So between those minor little things, it really just falls down to the management of the different conventions, how they're going to pull it off, where they're getting their money from, if they've had success in the past. And I think all those factors are really going to have to culminate, and we're going to see where the success really comes as far as conventions are concerned in 2014.
Yeah, for sure. I think, as the saying would go, quote unquote, investor confidence is pretty high right now as far as the show's concerned. We've got that full season, and people are looking looking forward to a half year of ponies straight, of 26 episodes and lots of new content. No one really has any motives going into this season. No one has any preconceptions of the direction of the show at this point. Everybody is sort of in the dark, so it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens. But I think with that, we're ready for our first break, or close to it. I need to go back and look at the thing. I think, honestly, for this season, that compared to last season, the convention still, rose up out of the ashes. BronyCon, having its second major year, capitalizing on the maxing out of their convention space last year, getting up in those numbers close to around 9,000 this year. I'm not sure the direction that, obviously being the flagship convention, is going to head. I know there's lots of changes going on in their staff constantly, and changing hands, and I believe they're sticking with the same venue as this last year for next year, and they've already, I believe, opened up to pre-regs and stuff like that, so it'll be interesting to see from their end of things. And, filtering down off of that, of course, Everfree Northwest, EQLA, some of the major other players in this. Of course, there's no Vegas. We won't speak of that travesty from this last year, but those looking like the three big U.S. conventions, and of course Buck and Galacon as well, two other ones to look out overseas, and PonyCon AU also. So this will be some things we talk about in our show today in the main segment, and just sort of looking at comparing last year, the trend with the show as well as the conventions, and then going on into the trend this year, predictions for what conventions to look out for from our own personal understanding of those conventions this last year, and any possible up-and-comers and things like that will definitely be something to look out for. So,
yeah, you know it. And with that, I believe we're going to swing into our first commercial and music break. As Canterlot Cross-Fade always has done, we like to showcase some newer music in the fandom, lesser-known artists, and just newer songs in general. I know on my old show, I basically just played classics, so this is always a bit going out of my comfort zone as far as playing new music, but hell, this is the only way to expand both Sham and I's horizons. So with that, we're going to swing into a quick commercial break, and coming up, we're going to have some good old electronic dance music, EDM, style of music with the song Launch by Dashed Rainbows. That and more coming your way here on Canterlot Cross-Fade.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Over-the-Top Brony Guy.
Mr. Over-the-Top Brony Guy.
You don't care that the show is designed for 5-year-old girls. You've watched every episode.
I love you, Fluttershy.
Your new neighbor just moved in from Soviet Russia. What would Pinkie Pie do?
Communist Party.
We're not whining about Master Link X's channel being taken down. We're complaining. This is whining.
Please make it stop.
So crack open a tall, cold one, Mr. Over-the-Top Brony Guy, because without you, Rainbow Dash would still be a heterosexual.
Mr. Over-the-Top Brony Guy.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to deliver mail fast and safe? Try the Derpy Hooves Postal Service. Derpy personally handles each piece of mail like a child and will deliver it immediately. Unlike the Equestrian Postal Service, Derpy delivers mail every day of the week. Every pony loves Derpy's Postal Service. Just listen to these testimonials.
I don't know how, but my mail got to where it needed to go. And I got a muffin.
Derpy doesn't seem like the brightest pony in Equestria, but she is fast, and she gives us all muffins, which is cool too.
Well, the eyes are a very noticeable feature of Derpy, but she is extremely fast. My mail got to Canterlot from Ponyville in one day, and I got a muffin. What is it with that pony and muffins?
So instead of using equestrian postal service, try Derpy Hooves, where your mail matters. Break it down, DJ Pone 3. It's Celestia Radio.
And we are back. DJK here, joined with DJ Shamrock here on Canterlot Cross-Fade for episode number 5. Topic, 2014 conventions and Nightmare Night Dallas. How you doing, Sham?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, you know.
So, why don't you get us started here as far as, I think we decided we want to start out with looking back to the 2013 convention season, a lot of shit happened considering, we start out with the con that went down in flames, TitaniCon 2013, Las Pegasus Unicon, I'll just go ahead and say its name. It probably hasn't been uttered on anything Pony Media related in months, so we're breaking down barriers. We're racy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, Las
Damn
Pegasus, that's what started us off, and then we end on such an incredible high note, Nightmare Nights Dallas 2013. And then there's a whole lot of middle ground there, too. We got a lot to cover.
Yeah, definitely, it's crazy, you pointed out, you actually make a great comparison, like, Las Pegasus Unicon and Nightmare Nights Dallas, like two total different ends of the spectrum.
The bread of the sandwich.
But here's the thing. I actually think it's a great comparison because both of these conventions shot very high. Now, of course, Las Pegasus Unicon shot higher than any convention ever before or since, I would dare say, except for maybe BronyCon this year, but we'll hold off on that. Because they brought in, we're talking like several dozen guests of honor. We're talking high-ranking stuff.
Like
we're
30.
talking about Tara Strong.
Insane.
We're talking about John Delancey. We're talking about, most of the major players, a good enough amount of the writers, production staff, artists, and a sweeping number of voice actors and actresses at Las Vegas Unicon. Not only that, they paid and brought in a just huge number of musicians from the Brony fandom, and a lot of big hitters as well that we know personally.
I got the poster right here. I could list them all off. Cyril the Wolf, Fenning, Omnipony, Aviators, the Beetle Bronies, Hey Lost Frost, Tarby, Equestria Dude, Eurobeat Bronies, Silva Hound, Ponywan Kenobi. I don't like that guy, so fuck him. I Be a Brony Rapper and Taps. And that was a circular poster, so if you could have seen my head while reading that, you probably would have laughed. But that was who was there. They all had sets to a whopping audience of at least 20 people. So
yeah, and that's of the musicians list, and then another number of that for the actual guests of honor. Not to mention you had every single representative of Pony Media there, and it was, for all intents and purposes, it had the just largest amount of the top end sector of what of the Brony fandom. There was vendor wise too. You had huge hitting vendors that were there. Both JJ as well as Brayburn were there. I believe Pixel Kitties, Citra, just all over the spectrum of the best of the best were there. And it was almost like the Olympics, to be honest. It kind of felt like that because there was just so much of the greatest talent that you could see was just sort of there. And then it sort of turned from the Olympics into the Coliseum, and literally everything came crashing down around us. Just like the fall of Rome before it, it just shot for too great of a convention that could not be held within the walls of the Riviera Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, and unfortunately, it led to the destruction of that con, its legacy, and anything being done in the Las Vegas area. Unfortunately, which sucks because I love Las Vegas, and having having our conventions there would be amazing. And it's not too crazy far from me. It's pretty. I would rather go there than go out east, to be honest. That's just me.
Likewise. Plus, how could you beat that road trip that we had?
Oh, you can't.
That was like the best fucking road trip we've ever in the history of time.
You literally can't beat that road trip. It is the best road trip of all time.
If you want to see it, it's on YouTube, Celestia Radio.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on our Celestia Radio YouTube page. Go check it out. Just absolutely silly and crazy. And
you can watch
there's a great part in there. Yeah, there's a great part in there where you get to watch DJK and two other guys push the car while I kind of aimlessly drive it because we ran out of gas like 20 miles out from a gas station. It was pretty intense. Yeah, so that's fun times. But that leading into the idea of Nightmare Nights Dallas, and of course I've talked to Sandy and Bob all along the way from time that they conceived the idea for doing a convention up to the actual execution of it. And it was always done, and they always looked back on Las Pegasus and on other because certainly Las Pegasus wasn't the only failed pony convention. It was just the most well known because of how high it tried to shoot for and how far it fell. Most of those other ones that are first year starters that fail, they just don't know what they're doing.
Most first year starters don't also have 30 show staff. That was where you went wrong there.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest problems of it. There were a lot of factors why that convention failed. You can honestly blame weather in part to some of the downfall that happened, but definitely not all of it is the weather's blame.
Winter Storm Q.
Yeah.
How timely.
Fucking how precious and priceless it is that the storm is named Q. I just, it's funny. But, with Nightmare Nights Dallas, these guys knew, for one, what they were doing. They were backed by an organization that runs conventions all the time in the Dallas, Texas area, and including Furry Fiesta. It's the same group that runs that. And, which is one of the, if not the major furry convention of the South. And so they already kind of had this backing behind them. They knew how to run a convention, how to execute it well, which a lot of that was a downside or a downturn from the Vegas one was problems dealing with the convention center, the hotel. And, they shot for as many guests as they could without going broke, and they knew what they were shooting for. They always continuously said, we need X number of people to pre-reg, and then we'll be okay, and they didn't go over budget ever. They always made sure that they were in the black, which is basically in the green, so to speak. They just call it in the black.
That's why it's not Green Friday.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so they made sure they could pull it off, and they raised quite a bit of money for charity. I don't remember the exact numbers. Sandy, of course, when he comes on later, he can tell us. But just absolutely fantastic work, and really showed what a first-year convention that knows what it's doing, has the right contacts, and stays within budget can pull off. And it wasn't as big as what Las Vegas' Unicon would have been if it was successful. But in reality, in the practical sense, so in theory, not the biggest, but in practice, probably the biggest first year straight out of the gate thing. Now, of course, there's always the exception for BronyCon. It was the first, so it garnered a huge number more of people.
Well, you can't forget going back to the real first BronyCon.
Right, it was only 300.
Yeah, it was tiny. Like one panel. Chef Sandy was the one moderating it with the final draft, and they shook hands, and all was well and happy, and sunshine and rainbow was in the fandom. Now, see where we've come, Sham. Fuck.
How short-lived it was. How short-lived. But you literally go from that phase where, it's funny to look at the fandom as a whole, and just, the first phase, and everybody's like, oh yes, this is awesome, and just everybody fucking loves each other. And then now, we've already gone through the phase, the year of fuck everyone, everybody hates everybody, everybody's in it for themselves, fuck everything, death, destruction, desolation, and now we're in the phase afterwards where everybody's just like, who the fuck cares anymore? And you just kind of go about and do your thing and have fun and don't give a shit at all.
I'm gonna send you this picture in Skype. I would send you the link if I had it, but you're gonna get a fucking crack up out of this. So just keep talking. You'll know when it's done.
Sure.
But it basically sums up everything you just said about the fandom in a tiny little PNG.
Right.
So let me dig it up here.
Yeah, but I just the crazy amount of change that's happened in such a small amount of time, and most people say, "Oh, it's been years, my entire life," and it's like, no, really, it's if you really look into the depths of things, it's been like 2 years, so not really that much time has been taken up, but lots of change has happened in such a small amount of time.
No other fandom has seen something of this extent, I would say without a doubt.
Yeah, when it comes to change, I definitely agree with that.
And with infrastructure just in general, we were talking about a fucking hierarchy earlier. That there's not many fandoms that have quite as well-established hierarchies as we do, which is...
Yeah, the political scope of this. To be honest, a lot of it has to do... it's always going to be hard to point out. I think that this, fandom in particular, other than other very popular ones based on primetime, actual television, aka non-cartoons. I don't know why I said it like that, but to be honest, it's sort of the newest, right? It's one of the newest ones, other than I'm not even going to talk about Homestuck, but came from 4chan, exploded, and here we are. We have this, who would have thought fandoms with an actual physical media presence outside of, I think the closest thing to date to this would be video game media. You know what I mean? Like IGN, GameSpot, big players like that, and their media crews. That's the other closest thing I can think of to, this, and that's not even a fandom. That's just a sector of society. You know what I mean? Might want to explain to the chat that I can't link it because it's a physical.
I drug a picture. This probably won't work, but maybe.
Oh my god. Probably not.
Yep. No. Okay.
You'll send it to Imager.
I don't really want to.
Let me. I have to look at it real quick first.
Did now work. English good, Lebroni.
Enjoyment in fandom. Oh yes, I've seen this actually. I want to say on Tumblr maybe. But yeah, no, I've definitely seen this before. Basically, for those that can't or haven't seen it, it's the graph it's the line graph. I think that's what that's called. That shows the progression over time of fandom experience and enjoyment, and it basically starts out real hyped, and then as you sort of progress a certain amount into it, it's like fuck all of this, and just at the very bottom of the barrel, and then it jumps up to a huge level of enjoyment after you give no fucks anymore about anything that's happening, and etc.
As the picture describes it, officially stopped caring and reached nirvana-like state of pure I don't give a fuck bliss. And I'm at that level. I'm there, and it feels good.
Me too. You know what? Me too. And it does feel great to literally just give zero fucks about being annoyed by stuff that's just not worth it. You know what I mean? We, after putting so much investment and time into a lot of work, you eventually get to the point where you're like, I'm okay with what I have, and you sort of get to the point where you would rather go back to enjoying life than trying to cut off your leg every day doing relentless amounts of work with zero give back. You know, and I think that's pretty much how it works. And it also has to do with the squabbling and the debating and all of that. But Ikeo is gone for some reason, says Red Helper. Well, for those of you wondering, yes, Aiko, as she's called, I don't know what she fecked off tonight, so she's not in here. She's not important, though, because you've got 2 talk shows that don't deal with the thing. Or maybe that's Firebolts. That's Twix. Never mind. I don't give a shit. Everyone gives 0 fucks. That's correct. So, basically, take this idea that you can literally look at Las Pegasus Unicon as the pinnacle of hatred and death and destruction in the fandom, and look at it, go beyond it. BronyCon stands as it's the constant. It's the thing it's never going to go away. It's always there. It may increase. It probably will increase, you know, forever, but it'll probably taper out at some point. It's probably not going to dwindle too much. It's going to pretty much stay the same as long as there's interest. And it's, you know, as the show goes, so will BronyCon. And that's always the thing to look for. You can always look at the numbers at that convention and say, okay, this is what's happening in the fandom based on these numbers. You can do it with pretty much all the conventions, to be honest, but that's going to be the first one you look at and go, okay, what's BronyCon doing? Okay, that is where we can sort of see what's going on with the fandom. And, you know, I think that looking at Nightmare Nights Dallas, it was the convention where you said, finally, we've reached the point where just no one gives a shit anymore about the fucked up stuff, and they just go to a con to fucking go, have fun, that's it. And none of this other bullshit that we're used to dealing with. So, a good number of guests, and just the atmosphere was so much better. Of course, they didn't have near the numbers of even the first summer BronyCon. I think the numbers were, we'd have to ask Sandy, but it was somewhere between 1 and 2K, somewhere, I want to say for sure. Nice big convention area. They had 1 floor rented out. Actually, yeah. No, I want to say they had the first floor rented out as well for something. I don't remember what. But yeah, good stuff, great guests, new stuff. That's the most important thing, is new stuff, because so many times you get the same voice cast at like 20 conventions in a row. And you're like...
The same panel with the same people with the same dude moderating the panel, cough, cough. We all fucking know who that guy is.
With the same questions and the same answers. And it's just like, please, God, stop this. That's why I've never attended a single panel in my entire life.
Same here, internet high five.
High five until Nightmare Nights Dallas. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing the media game at this convention. I'm just going, fucking having fun, whatever. Gonna enjoy myself. I fucking spent $500 on my ticket, and
oh my
like,
god,
yeah. So it was worth it. We went to Fogo de Chao, de Shows, or however the fuck you pronounce that Brazilian steakhouse place. Ate some fucking amazing meats. I had the best cheesecake I've ever had in my life, and it was a 12-on-12 guest to paid sponsor ratio. So there were 12 guests, there were 12 people who paid for tickets. Fantastic. Because most of these things you go and, you know, they have the dinner and, oh, we fit 10 people to one guest. You know, like, Jesus Christ, you know, you don't really get to converse with the other guests. You converse with one guest, and that time is taken up by the 10 other people, and it lasts for like 30 minutes. It's not worth it, to be honest. And
Nope.
Nightmare Nights Dallas did a fantastic job of having 24 total people, no more than that, one table, straight line table. You could probably talk to 7 or 8 guests at once, and there were only as many people as there were guests. And that was just brilliant, and it worked. It was amazing. And you really got to know them one-on-one, and it lasted for like 2 hours. So
you got your money's worth, at least.
Hell yeah. No, for sure. And of course, we also got first go at any panel. You know, we had reserved seating in every panel room. So it was, you know, between there were 10 people, basically, that had these passes. And, you know, it was very successful scheme. And it raised, you know, that's automatically $5,000 for the con. So they've already got huge potential income to work on stuff. And the other thing that was great about this con, I'll tell you what, is that, you know, they really went all out. Everything that was not cost went straight to charity. There was zero profit in this convention at all. 100% was either cost of you know, maintaining the convention this one year, so they don't have an upstart for next year. But all of it went to charity. And Brenda, the voice of Zecora, who was there, I believe it was her, or it might have been GM Burrow, who came for free in order to donate that money that would have been paid to them to the charity. So that was awesome. So the guests coming and making that sacrifice with their own money, coming on their own dime to the convention in order to raise money for this children's charity, or a children's, I don't know, honestly, I can't remember if it was a children's cancer fund or if it was a children's, like, just general charity. We'll have to ask Sandy when he comes on. But just, yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible.
You know, it's going to sound, you know, lame, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. But that's what it should be about 99% of the time. Maybe not necessarily all the time for conventions, because conventions are profit-making, you know, machines most of the time. But getting back to the kind of holistic approach in the fandom. We haven't seen it for a while. I mean, fuck, I haven't heard someone actually say love and tolerate in probably a year, which is good, but at the same time, I kind of miss those days. And when I first joined the fandom, I'm like, I'm going to look at my life a little bit differently. I'm not going to be an aggravated person. I'm not going to let the little things get to me. I'm just going to shrug it off and be, hey, fuck you. This is what it is. I've mostly kept the latter part of that. It is what it is, but I still get aggravated easily by retarded bullshit. So, sorry. I came as close as I could. But, you know, 2013 really killed a lot of late 2012, early 2013, or all of 2013, up until now, up until that convention. That holistic, you know, family, you know, the friendly approach of the fandom, it was gone. That it was a fucking dog-eat-dog world out here. For a show with adult fans, geared at girls, the fact that that even happened, you know, if anyone would have laid out, you know, the blueprint of the fandom when it first started, when there was, you know, a few hundred people. Oh, come 2013, there's going to be media groups fighting, conventions on fire, guests that are wanting to sue, all this kind of crazy shit. You'd probably laugh and say you're fucking nuts. But it actually did happen, and we're starting to get away with that finally. And Nightmare Nights Dallas took the perfect approach to getting there again, reminding people that we're a fandom. It's not a universal network business that is out to rise yourself to the pinnacle of fucking fandom fame, which isn't even really a thing when you think about it. It's just a subconscious
King of the fandom.
You know. So basically, to sum up this conversation, Nightmare Night Dallas fucking took an awesome approach, giving money to charity, you know, going back to the roots of what we were founded on. And that seemed, and like you were saying, they did everything so different, but at the same time, that's how it should have been done. Different panel moderators, different ideas, you know, a charity backing it, not out there for profit. That's how we should have gotten off on the right foot. That's probably what people were thinking with the first BronyCon. Now we've gone far too off of the beaten path to go back, but every little step back in the right direction, such as what Nightmare Nights Dallas did with 2013, it's gonna eventually help. So if we can keep doing that, treating each other not like assholes, not on the constant attack, not like the fandom is a business, then we're off on the right foot. If we can't get our heads out of our asses collectively as a fandom, we're never going to see that happen. Just saying. That's my 2 cents. And that's at the same time why, Celestia Radio, when we started, we were the only radio station. The first and only, hundreds of listeners all the time. Now there is 17, I believe. 17 different radio stations. Listener numbers have dispersed between the 17 equally. That's probably why numbers have gone down. It's not so much different approaches, it's just people have different, they have different things that draw them in. Celestia Radio, we have a particular demographic that we will always cater to, but at the end of the day, as long as we've got at least one person tuned into this shit, it's all worth something. And we're never going to fight and ruin friendships and fucking attack other people just so we can get back on top. That's my personal outlook. Even people at this station think I'm fucking crazy. People have quit this station because that's my outlook. But I think you agree with me, Shamrock, that's kind of the CR way, that we really don't give a shit about the numbers. It's all about the listener base that we have and why they like us and what we can do to keep them entertained.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we do our thing. We stick to our principles and stick to what we know and what we're good at. And, people listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't. And, we don't, I certainly don't lose any sleep over it. I know that the people who do listen to us and enjoy listening love it for what it is, and I would never change any of that. It's been awesome so far, and it's been fun to, be here during all of these transitions, and, there's been up times and down times and even some crazy times as well. But, we've had the fortune of being here through the whole process, seeing the fandom from beginning until now, and we were born out of 4chan too, so we were born out of the same thing the fandom was at the same time, and just been a blast to have this experience and see what all these conventions and stuff have done over the years, getting to see the changes that they've made from year to year, and some of that other stuff. I would say of all that I've been to, and I've been to a shitload of these fucking conventions, all right? There is, if nothing else can be said for me, it's that I have been to a shitload of conventions for this freaking fandom. And, I've been to, 3 or 4 different ones in Texas over multiple years. Obviously, Las Vegas is Unicon, BronyCon, and the ones here in Kansas. That random, just kind of, it's over here, And personally, I'll say from my own experience that, the big ones are definitely fun. The local ones, at least for me, the smaller ones are always better. It's nice to go to one big one, pick your big con, whether it's EQLA, EFNW, or BronyCon, pick your big one and go to it. And pick local ones, because cost isn't worth it to go to more than one major one, and the experience doesn't differ that much. So your experience is always going to be wonderful and great. Go to smaller ones, I'm talking around the 1,000 range. That's what I consider small. But anywhere between 500 to 1,500, that range is always going to be a good experience, no matter what. They may be shittily run, but even if they are, you'll always get you'll always get some good input from it. You'll see some cool vendors there. You'll meet some cool people, and that's where the bonding happens. Is the smaller ones. The bigger ones are for the sort of theatrical experience of going to a huge convention.
For watching Pony Chan throw spaghetti at Dusty Cat and having them
Right.
tell him they're dumb
Right.
fuckers and punching them in the chest, you know.
Yeah.
That's what the big cons are for. The little cons are for, oh my god, I can actually see the panel.
Yeah, that's for, let's just dick around and have a good time. But of course, for that, I would always welcome people to go to Nightmare Nights Dallas. If they decide to do a second convention, that has not been confirmed. Will it be confirmed? Find out later on in CCF this next hour during the 7 o'clock hour to find out from Sandy himself, the man of the convention, Nightmare Nights Dallas. We'll be talking to him later on in the show. But first, I believe we have another break coming up here on CCF.
Yep, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then coming right at the top of the hour, we have our Equestria Weather Report and the Fandom News Speed Show. So don't go anywhere. We got plenty of more great material here on Canterlot Cross-Fade.
I say, my name is Silence, and I am a DJ, that is to say, a disc jockey. Looking for some entertainment to liven up your weekend scones and afternoon tea? Say no more. Take a seat by the fireplace and tune into my show, Loud Beats, Silent Brit, from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Seaboard Time, or 7 to 9 p.m. for the gentlemen in Greenwich Mean Time. I hope I'll see you there. Cheerio.
Hey there, Brony. Run out of space on your hard drive? Too much Rule 34 rarity taking up all your precious memory? Well, fear not, because we've got a solution. Dash drives. Flash drives with your favorite pony engraved on the side. That's right. Now you can take your waifu anywhere, along with 64 gigabytes of memory. That's a lot of clop fiction. With 210 possible color combinations, dozens of graphics to choose from, and 2 lines of engraved personal text, your dash drive will be your very own. All you have to do is go to dashdrives.com and place an order. You'll be sporting some excellent flash drive pony swag in no time. Dash drives. File storage just got 20% cooler.
Hey there, bronies. Need someone to talk to about your love troubles? Then listen to Lauren Goodnight and Stephanie Keir on 8-Bit Sex every Friday night at 10 Eastern on Celestia Radio. We'll take your frown and turn it up.
If you don't have to use your traditional Royal Canterlot voice, the radio isn't turned up loud enough. Celestia Radio. All pony, all the time.
Alrighty, folks, and we are back. DJK here, still joined with my co-host DJ Shamrock, and we are here for yet another top-of-the-hour equestrian weather report. And as always, DJ Shamrock will be doing the wonderful weather in the capital city of Equestria, Canterlot. What are we looking at here, Shamrock?
Well, I tell you what, in Canterlot, 'tis the sizzy for the brizzy here in the fair city of Canterlot, as winter is fast upon our hooves, and there is nothing to be done but hide away and hope it doesn't cause too much trouble. That's right, cold, cold winds and potential freezing rain is headed our way over the coming week, with some lows around 15 Fahrenheit tonight in our beautiful capital city of Canterlot.
Looking a little bit cold over there in the capital. We might be faring a little bit better over here in Ponyville. It would appear that the Everfree Forest has finally been driven back to whence it came, thanks to some alicorn magic and a questionable-looking potion that a certain some pony managed to pick up from a shady-looking zebra. The local Pegasi will have to step up their game in the coming weeks to fix all this natural damage, but the current drought that the city is facing should end as quickly as it came. And with that, look at that, even perfect on timing. We are at the top of the hour at, what would you call it, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means, of course, it is time for the Brony Fandom Canterlot Cross-Fade news speed show, I guess I should say. So with, fuck it, play the clip. All right, well, rounding off the news today, Season 4 happened. We talked about it. You don't want to get us started on it. It was awesome. You should have been there. That's the first bit, really. That's all I've got. Shamrock, over to you.
All right, well, released images of episodes 4 and 6 in Season 4. You can find them on Equestria Daily. Check those out. Pretty cool things to look at.
Yeah, like we said, we're non-spoilerish, so we're not going to really tell you what they are, but you can find them on EQD. It would appear as if we're going to have quite the season already, just with those quick little images. We're in for good things, Season 4, people. Like I said, don't get us started. We'll talk about it later, but it's going to happen. So, next on the list, we have the website Shirt Punch. Unique URL there. I haven't ever been there, but they have a $10 shirt fire sale for all Twilight shirts. You want to get them while they're hot, folks. The website is www.shirtpunch.com. If you want to go give yourself a smoking hot $10 t-shirt with your favorite new princess on it.
Awesome. They sure are capitalizing on all of the Twilight that we've had over the past, course of the end of Season 3, Equestria Girls, and now, the beginning of Season 4, looking at all her important roles. So I'm sure they'll get plenty of sales for people that have Twilight on the brain. A new backpack has been featuring all the notable stallions from the show. If that's your thing, you decide, hey, where's all the stallion love out there on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Well, where can you get it, you might be asking me? A random pharmacy located in California. There have been no other stores thus far that have been found yet featuring this type of backpack. You can check out more on that news over at EquestriaDaily.com.
Yeah, I'm sure all those people that have been, waiting, just diehard fans of all the stallions in the show, waiting for their 5-year-old's backpack so they can take it to their job. They're not going to find it yet. So, sorry guys. Hopefully you live in California. Start hitting up every Walgreens you can think of, and maybe you'll find it. But next on the agenda, it would appear as if a college radio station, their call sign WHUS, had a 1-hour pony-dedicated block of music, which is pretty cool, I gotta say. It would probably sound cooler if they were the first ones to do it. I'm gonna go ahead and toot my own horn. Don't forget, I was playing 1-hour blocks of pony music on my community radio station, KBUT, last year, without a single fuck to give, and I had call-ins all the time asking, where was this music coming from? How dare I? And also, it's awesome. So I probably got a few bronies in Colorado doing that. But also, unfortunately, there are pony-dedicated radio stations, so hopefully if you were a college student and you didn't know that Celestia Radio was a thing, that was the best hour of your life. But otherwise, you probably should have been tuned into us instead.
That's right. I even did some college broadcasting as well back in my day. It wasn't but 2 years ago I was doing this over at Pittsburgh State University on their guerrilla radio station. I was doing my 2-hour show, hour of Irish stuff and an hour of pony stuff. So, it's pretty fun to see. I remember someone was doing KU stuff too. I actually met that guy over at KU. The Kansas Jayhawks was doing a brony show. Looking over at Toy Is, I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Toys.
Has a Toys. It's almost like some weird Asian pronunciation there. Has a Season 4 promo discount code. If you head over there, I don't know too many of the details as far as how much the discount is for, but if they're still available, you can go over there to Toy Is and type in Season 4 in all caps in the box at purchase. Get some nice discounts. Codes going on there to get some good MLP merchandise for lower prices.
Yep, not the highest quality merchandise, but hell, I think it's 15% off you'll get if you go and type in that promo code. And discounts are discounts, so if you've been waiting to get pony crap, go get it now. In other news, Ponies the Anthology 3 has a release date for the upcoming December 7th day. I don't know what day of the week it is, but that's what day it's going to be released. They have teamed up with our favorite people over at Everfree Network. And, of course, the number of curse words and racy material that you will find in the next installment of Ponies the Anthology 3 will most likely be nil. So whether or not that affects the quality of Ponies the Anthology for you or not, I don't know. You'll just have to go and see it yourself. But I'd recommend maybe waiting until it's on YouTube.
That's what I would say. I would say hold off, just let it pervade and see. If Equestria Daily features it, then you can go check it out. But, we'll see what happens there. Final Draft has been throwing out the tweets recently, getting a little butthurt over Equestria Daily not posting anything from Everfree Network. That being, of course, because Final's a dick, and Sithisto doesn't care too much for his shenanigans. So, he knows the answer to that. He's just trying to kick the bee's hive to get everybody riled up, but it ain't gonna work. Nobody gives two shits. So, moving on to the next particular interesting topic here that we have. Vinyl and Derpy vinyl figures are available again on We Love Fine. Now, of course, by the time you finished hearing me say that, they're probably sold out again. Fucking go to it. Get there, WeLoveFine.com. Check out that shit. They go so fast, and I know that people all the time are like, oh my god, they're back, like every time that it happens, and everybody's just freaking out trying to get the shit. That's right. Go there now, WeLoveFine.com, and check out their vinyl and Derpy vinyl figures available on the website. Of course, they kind of sometimes will sort of dissipate out into the different vendors, like Hot Topic. Sometimes will carry that stuff, but it's very hit and miss with them with Hot Topic. It can go back and forth. I've gone to Hot Topics, 2 or 3 stores within, just one city, and they'll have completely different inventory. So it's tough if you want to try and go with the gamble on that. Try and find a place locally that sells. You're gonna probably be in trouble. So my suggestion always is to get your purchase online and head over to We Love Fine and check those out before they are totally sold out.
Yeah, We Love Fine. Awesome people over there. I know that they had a whole bunch of different promo codes and deals that they were doing. Unfortunately, that was just the day of the season premiere yesterday on Saturday. So if you missed it, you missed it. I know I did. I didn't want to buy any shit anyway, but there you have it, folks. All those deals are already over. Next on the list here, it would appear as if there was a couple little pony drops on South Park. Yes, you're probably shaking in your boots already. The show from hell, from Colorado, my home state. Haha. They had a few little pony references in there. Nothing was related to the Friendship is Magic universe. I think they might have been slightly alluding to it. That they, the names were close but not quite. The color palettes were the same, close but not exact to what we're used to in Friendship is Magic. Same with the body style. But ponies, nevertheless, they were in South Park. I was asking myself, will we ever see ponies or bronies being referenced in a South Park episode? I almost feel like we're just too fucking vulnerable not to be taken advantage of by South Park. I honestly wouldn't give a shit. I remember back in mid-season 2, 2012, there was a rumor bouncing around that, yes, there was going to be a brony episode. Everyone was freaking out. We didn't know what to think. But it would appear as if we made it out anyway. And I'm still waiting for that episode. I know Tosh.0, he went there. Oh my god, did he go there? So we're still just
Yeah.
Remember when
that was quite something, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, just a last little story in the few seconds we got left. One of my best friends, he was watching that episode with his dad. Oh, Dad, look, bronies, that's what Kyle totally is. And then they flashed the picture of Fluttershy's vajayjay, and then Kyle looks like a fucking pedophile, so thank you to my friend and his dad.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Do you want to have a night on the town but need someone to watch your precious little animals? Look no further than Fluttershy's daycare. Fluttershy will watch your animals with more care than a mother would watch her child. She makes sure each one is fed, bathed, and asleep. Fluttershy offers overnight service or hourly service, and out of love for all animals, she will do it for free. Just listen to these testimonials.
My little bunny was safe and sound all day. Fluttershy is such a nice pony.
My little kitty loved it. She was well rested and fed when I came to pick her up.
I love Fluttershy. She makes sure my precious puppy gets whatever he needs. She's a very kind pony.
So why wait? Bring your little animal down to Fluttershy's Animal Daycare next time you want a night on the town.
Do you like to party?
Yeah.
Do you like to eat sugary
You know it.
Well, what are you waiting for? Come on down to Sugar Cube Corner. We've got the largest selection of diabetes-inducing treats this side of the galaxy. You know how big the galaxy is? Really fucking big.
Wowzers.
That's right. We've got cookies, cakes, donuts, eclairs, strudels, cupcakes, flatbreads, and much, much more.
Jesus
So
Christ.
get your plot down here, you junkie sad sack, and eat your troubles away. Only at Sugar Cube Corner. Warning, cupcakes may contain trace amounts of pony flesh.
Stop clopping and turn it up. It's Celestial Radio.
All right, and welcome back here on Canterlot Cross-Fade. I am DJ Shamrock, of course, joined by my amazing co-host, DJK Brony, and you were listening to Nicholas Dominique, the source of harmony here on Celestia Radio. And of course, it's time for our amazing interview segment. This episode, we're talking about Convention Season 2014 projections, as well as talking about the amazing hit that was Nightmare Nights Dallas, located in Dallas, Texas, thrown by the organization Drama, and convention chaired by my good man, Chef Sandy, joining us here on Celestia Radio. What's going on, man?
Howdy, guys. It's been a pretty good couple weeks.
Hell yeah, it has. So, tell us, first of all, for those that don't know Chef Sandy, he, did all those things I just said, and also is the one of the hosts of Bronyville. How's that been going, by the way? I haven't been getting any emails with Bronyville in the last couple weeks.
That's a good question. Our audio guy should be sending them to you. I don't know why you haven't gotten any.
Yeah, and Bullshit just kind of told me one week, he's like, well, AC and Sandy are, like, going off the radar with the show now, and GCC's probably going to do the same thing, so, okay. And I was like, what?
Well, we still plan on doing Bronyville episodes, but when there's going to be a week where there's a break in the show, we also have another show that we're working on called Fandoms Unlimited, which is us just rambling about other cool stuff that we like.
Yeah.
Movies and comics and video games and stuff like that, because, why not?
Right.
And we came up with the idea right towards the end of the hiatus because, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel for content.
Right.
And we did an episode, and it was great, and now cartoon horses are back. So gets put on the back burner for a little bit.
Yeah, but at least the idea is there when you want to pick it back up.
Oh, yeah. We have the Twitter, Gmail, Tumblr, URLs, all that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff. So, first of all, kind of starting out, we had talked. I remember in the very beginning when you and Bob had talked about doing this. Some of it felt like there were just too many shit conventions going on in this fucking fandom, and it was like, oh my god, someone needs to show these people what the hell a real convention looks like. And I think you guys got prodded a little bit to try and make a good demonstration, a good cause for charity, and pick up and say, okay, this is what a convention looks like. So run us through some of that beginning process when you guys, formed the idea for Nightmare Nights Dallas.
Well, it kind of came at the tail end of 2013. Wait, it's 2013 now. 2012.
Yeah.
Where I'd been to Brony Fanfare in Austin and was thoroughly unimpressed, but I was impressed by the amount of people there, and I'm like, all right, there's clearly a market for this. The population of Texas can support a PonyCon. And we started getting our ducks in a row, and we didn't get to announce until February because there was the whole Hasbro blackout thing that existed until from between EQLA 2012, the first one, and right before Las Pegasus. But we started getting all of our things in a row and like what we wanted to call it, what we wanted to theme it, and just started calling on contacts that we have. Obviously Bob and I've been doing conventions on a senior staffing role for the past 5 years, going on to 6. And Bob has been doing, convention stuff on an top level executive staff. He was formerly on the executive staff of ACON, which is a 25,000 plus attendee anime con here in Dallas that's been going for 25 years. So he knew some people and had just a little bit of experience. So we basically were like, all right, we're going to run this convention how we know to run conventions. Because it seemed like more often than not, a lot of the conventions that were popping up were those helmed by people who didn't necessarily have experience. They just thought, hey, let's do this party. What could go wrong? And obviously, throughout 2013, we were shown that this was often the case. People trying to commit to too large things. Obviously, had Las Pegasus. People catching fire and falling over after the con is over. So it was basically a matter of, all right, we know how to do this. Let's do it how we know how to do it. Let's take the way that we've run things for the past several years and apply that to a PonyCon. Because in our opinion, and we feel pretty strongly on this, that a convention is a convention is a convention for the most part. And a lot of the ways that you run an anime con or a furry con or a sci-fi con are pretty much the same. You know, you have to tailor your policies towards the demographic you're aiming at, but cons have panels, cons have dealers' dens, cons have social space, cons have artist alleys. They need X, Y, and Z in terms of staff. They need a green room for their guests. It's not hard. It's not innovative. It's something that people have been doing since the 1970s, at least. I mean, Worldcon started after World War II, and they're still around. So the convention structure is well known. And people from the chat are heckling me.
Yeah. Don't pay them too much mind. But yeah, so, you know, going into, we talked a lot about one of the major differences between, Las Pegasus Unicon and you guys. One is that they shot for literally the highest possible standard in all of conventiondom, and they just didn't have both the know-how or the support or the anything to back it up. And, it was an interesting atmosphere, I mentioned it felt like the best of the best were at that convention. Everything from the vendors, the media, the talent from the guests from the show. I mean, it set itself up and felt like the cream of the crop convention in Las Vegas, Nevada. And, they overshot by a large margin their available funds.
Not even that. I mean, it's not just, a linear scale that you add more people, you automatically get more guests, more attendees coming. I mean, Vegas is not exactly the most kid-friendly city, and this fandom skews young. And it's going to Vegas, and it was in February, which is not exactly a vacation time.
Right.
They had a lot of things going against them, and the fact that they just shot for the moon. And unfortunately, a lot of us in the pony media were complicit in its occurring because we didn't know any better. We didn't think that someone would be that freaking stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we had her on Bronyville at one point, and she didn't answer much in the way of anything.
Yeah.
So we we both had the feeling that this was a problem, and AC went, and I obviously had other things to do, but yeah, he got to see Frontline.
Yeah. It was interesting, but in comparison to that, you see all of the lessons learned from 2012 and 2013 sort of in Nightmare Nights Dallas, and you get to see, you guys shot for what was, you guys shot for the potential of what was reachable, that you knew within your grasp. And as more money came in, as more support came in, that bar raised a little bit sort of as it went. And, we ended up with, I think, 12 guests all overall?
Yes.
That came both from the show and a few community ones.
We had three voice actors, 3 people from the show, 2 writers, and some community guests.
Yeah.
So
it was a good mix. And, some folks that don't go to many conventions, were there. We saw Jason Thiessen, which he's only been at BAP, I think. And we saw, some other people, GM Burrow was there, and we saw I'm just trying to think of ones that don't. Woody was there. Big Jim was there. It was awesome to get to see production staff. That's one of the things that you don't really see. You know, you see voice actors and actresses a lot at these conventions, and you see, you know, sometimes a good amount of writers will come because that's what people want to know. But often the artists and the production staff get left off that list. But really, as I said earlier in the program, I've never been to a panel before at a convention other than Nightmare Nights Dallas, and I went to the DHX staff production staff panel. Very enlightening stuff that, you know, it was new. You know, we had a different moderator, thank God. We had, you know, so there were new questions. You know, it was in the Texas demographic, which tends to be pretty good. I like the Texas folks.
There weren't any rambling descriptions about Skype conversations the moderator had with that person.
Right, the night before, or, you know, how much they chatted them up that weekend, talking about all things, you know, amazing. But, you know, it was fantastic. As much as I myself would have loved to moderate, Full Papers did an excellent job. They loved him. The guests loved him. I know they thought he did a fantastic job from what I heard from them and some of the post, both the dinner and the post parties after the dinner was over. You know, just overall, fantastic work with all the stuff. And did we ever hear what there was a few numbers and details about the convention that I couldn't remember or be arsed to remember. Did we get a total count of numbers from the convention for this year?
Unfortunately, there's not really a good way to get a solid count. We're saying 1,100. I mean, we aimed between 1,000 and 1,200, so right in the middle. And that's judging by the amount of supplies we went through, the fact that we burned through everything we purchased. We purchased for 1,000 and burned through all that, and burned through some backup supplies that Drama had in the supplies we pulled from their storage unit. So 1,100 is a fair guess. We have records of everybody who paid with credit and PayPal, but people paid with cash. Lots of people paid with cash because the demo that we're pointing at is high school students, and they showed up.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, you know, I can speak from having been there that you know, there was every single demographic pretty much represented there, age-wise and culturally and all those other fucking things. But you know, I saw tons of little kids, folks that were there with their parents, whole families there. Actually, you know, I saw several groups where I looked and I went, well, there's a son and a daughter with, you know, both their parents and a little kid that was like 3 or 4, and just like the whole gang was there. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I like the Texas area for that. I think you actually see, of all the cons I've been to, both, you know, Vegas clear over to BronyCon, and Ohio and in between, I think Texas is where I've seen the most family dynamic come to the conventions. And, you know, that all was fantastic. And going on to the idea of where that money went, you know, I remember it was for a children's charity, but I can't remember what was the name of it?
It was St. Jude's Children's Medical Research Center.
Right, it was a cancer center.
Yeah, they do no-cost cancer care for poor families who would not be able to get care otherwise for their children.
Right. And how much did you guys end up raising for that?
We raised $9,122 for St. Jude's.
Nice.
And we also raised $3,120 for the North Texas Food Bank.
Oh, right.
And those people donated 186 pounds of food, a good chunk of it being spaghetti and pasta sauce, to the North Texas Food Bank.
That's so fantastic. Fucking capper.
Yeah, man. They didn't think I'd do it, and I was like, nah, guys. If you guys want to do something like that, I will make it happen.
Hell yeah. But God, the chat is suddenly getting. So one of the big things that was sort of revealed here was a greater knowledge of how to run a convention, for one, than we've seen from a lot of convention groups, and also the fact that you actually had a backing foundation behind you, which is drama, and that support I know makes a world of difference than if you were to try and just create your own convention out of thin air, basically.
Exactly. We would not have tried this if we didn't have backing. And it's one thing to start from zero because you have to incorporate, you have to have a corporate account, you have to do your filings with the government, and then you have to come up with all the crap you need. Instead, in our case, you're like, yo, we're existing organization, been around 6 years, has all this accumulated inventory. It's just a matter of taking what we have and applying it towards doing a PonyCon.
Right. And one thing that I personally was interested in, I know that there was some talking that had to be done after the convention, so we couldn't get an answer straight away. I know you both gave everything straight out to charity. It was solid convention, a good demonstration of how to have it done. The potential is there for all of those people that, all the potential con attendees that were there, more that would come. I mean, we've seen high numbers from all of the different conventions down in Texas, and by far, Nightmare Nights was the best, so I think it solidified that self within the community in Texas as being the all-star convention with actual show guests, the largest amount by far. Are we going to see Nightmare Nights Dallas 2014?
We are working on that. The answer is probably, but we still have to work out some stuff within intra-organizational politics and possibly getting some investment. But, the demand is there, and people, you saw Twitter a couple days after, the guests were all talking about us, families were talking about us, everybody was super freaking happy, and we'd like to do it again, but we can't make any promises. It's only been 2 weeks, and barely now just having the opportunity to, in about half an hour or so, or give or take a little bit, I'm going to be meeting with some of my folks at the Londoner, and we're just going to have a post-con decompression, talking how we feel. Because, it's easy to make decisions when you're on an emotional high and super happy and, oh, yeah, woo, convention. But, after a couple weeks, you kind of simmer down, and you're like, that was a lot of work. Do we want to go forward with this? The answer is going to be probably yes. But, this is a lot of money and a lot of time and effort on our parts. And, it certainly was a good thing for a good cause, but I cannot make any promises at this point. And right. I hope people understand. It's not that, oh God, we're doomed. It's just, we have families and relationships to worry about. And this was a lot of work for, money out of our pockets in the end.
Right.
But that's okay. We wanted to put on a good con for the fandom because we actually give half a damn about it. We wanted people to come here, have some fun, meet some cool people. The show staff, they never get to go to cons. Everyone's like, oh, let's get the D-listers who do one voice in one episode, and that's it. Get the people that have worked on the show since day freaking one and, could tell you all the little dirty secrets if they were so inclined. That's the better bet. That's the better expenditure of cash. Who gives a crap about? And this is not to denigrate people's contributions, but if you did one voice of one character in one episode 3 seasons ago, you can't really contribute a much or carry a panel. So we did this because we wanted to put on something good for the fandom, and hopefully restore some people's faith in that there can be good PonyCons that don't catch fire and fall over.
Yeah. I think it was the best thing I liked about it was that we saw every single area of the show represented in a pretty broad degree. As far as the voice actors that were represented there, we had Peter New, they had Andrea Libman, as well as Brenda doing the voice of Zecora, and
Brenda is awesome.
She is fucking fantastic. Like, first of all, for those that have never met her, I saw her in Vegas at Las Vegas Unicon, but I don't know what happened with that experience when I was there, but when she was up there on that floor, she seemed like all business diva when she walked up there. I mean, the confidence she carried with herself, and I thought, oh, I probably shouldn't approach her. But then with Nightmare Nights Dallas, she seemed very approachable. She was extremely warm. Was it her? I could never remember. Was it Brenda or was it Gian Burrow that came on their own dime?
That was Gian Burrow.
Okay.
And there's a cool story about that where it's like, hey, because we have this magical thing called a budget, and we had allocated it as we could see fit. But she was interested in coming to the con, and we're like, well, we really don't have much in the way of budget to do this. And she's like, that's okay, I'll get down here. I'm going to see family anyway. So she showed up. We put her up in a room, and she did the full-on con thing and had a really good time and saw her family while she was in town. So it was just a nice little bonus because we got content from her. She did the panels with Mitch, the writers panel, and a couple other things. And she signed autographs even.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was pretty. It was definitely good to have her. But talking back on Brenda, just amazing person. If you guys ever get a chance, go to a convention that has Brenda there. And she really is, a lot of people try and judge a convention's, quality content based on the voice actors that are there a lot of time, and they'll go, oh, well, we want the main six, and that's it, and everything. But you know what? That panel that had Peter New and Brenda up there, and even though it had Andrea Libman, I mean, they just went all out. They just, like, no fucks given. They had the time of their lives throwing that panel, and at the dinner and all the other events and stuff that they did, and between everybody acting all crazy, and Brenda just like gets into it. She'll just start singing in the middle of a panel and just going all out, and she just is a super warm presence. She's a mom, and oftentimes she treats all the fans of the show like they're her children, and she just loves everybody, and she's real inspirational. She is still that spirit left from the first season of Ponies when everybody was love and tolerate. That's her. That's Brenda. And I don't think anything will tarnish that that hasn't already. I don't think anything else can possibly tarnish that. But that was fun. The after party stuff was fantastic. We had that wonderful dinner at Fogo de Chow or however the fuck that place is pronounced. And it was great. But
yeah,
what things? Obviously, we had the one floor there at the Crowne Plaza, which, first of all, fantastic hotel. If you do this again, I will probably throw a fit if you don't stay with that hotel.
It'll be with them if we run again.
Because
we have a good working relationship with
that hotel. Furry Fiesta runs there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not anymore. We actually moved up to that con's moved to the Intercontinental, which is a 4-star hotel just up the street.
Oh, right.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's big, so I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we were outgrowing that space. We had 1,500 people. Actually, had 1,492 people to be exact last year, and we're like, well, we're a little too big for this space now, and moved on.
Yeah. But I mean, just a fantastic pick of a venue there. The hotel was fabulous. Everybody was nice. I remember even at one point, Spazzy and his sister were on rollerblades going through the front hotel space, and then someone, no security came and grabbed them in or anything. The hotel person was just like, could you please take those off? It's very, very polite, and unlike places where we're used to being, like Holiday Inn Express and
the Riviera.
And the Riviera, and get the fuck out, fuck you, customer, get out. Never have I seen such terrible customer service than I've seen from every hotel ever at a Brony convention, minus the Crown Plaza that Nightmare Nights Dallas was at. I tell you what, our party, except for, we were threatened actually the first Brony Fanfare.
That was fun.
I remember that.
When we got the room, they said, if we hear one complaint, you're all gone. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Because they knew we were trying to run that drinking panel there, and they just threw a tiffy about it. And, but we never actually got kicked out. We just, they threatened us.
We just bought a suite instead of a panel room and dealt with the punches.
The two other conventions the year after that, both at Fiesta Equestria and at Brony Fanfare 2013, we got kicked out of those rooms. So
seriously, Jesus Christ.
Well, the parties got canceled. I mean, they got destroyed. But luckily, I have never lost a room completely. But yeah, it was like, it's just. I don't know if I can even say how fucking much I hate those hotels. But Crown Plaza, we had 40, 50 people packed into that room. We had the show guests up there. I know we had Jason Thiessen. We had Brenda. We had Andrew was up there, and Peter was up there. And they all had the fucking blast. I know Andrea tweeted about it as it was happening.
Oh yeah,
which
is really, you don't normally see them do that.
Yeah,
it was a part of the hallmark of them showing they had such a good time. They're like, yeah, we're having an awesome time just chilling with this dude in his room. It's great.
It was fantastic. I mean, I loved it. It was the first one we really, other than Andrew Price in Vegas, that was a fun experience. But
yeah,
other than that, we haven't had too many show guests for my particular venues. But we managed to rope in Ralph, obviously, at the end of the dinner, and Ralph said, "Okay, here's where we're going." He grabbed everybody and brought them up. So I know they had a blast night.
He's a good guy. He worked with us quite a while and was extremely happy in the end.
Oh, for sure. Ralph is a fantastic. For those that don't know, Ralph is the agent of probably half of the voice cast on the show. And just super, super awesome guy. Stellar, dresses snappy. But he actually, he reminded me a lot of, oh God, now I can't, I'm going to get stabbed for not remembering this guy's name. The guy who one of the 007s for a long time, one of the James Bonds, and he was also in Mrs. Doubtfire.
I'm gonna draw a blank here.
Oh God, the tall, dark, and handsome British guy. I can't think of his name.
Don't know.
Anyway, I'm obviously not talking about Sean Connery, but anyway.
Or Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. Maybe it was him. Maybe it was Pierce.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Anyway, so kind of reminded me of him a little bit. He seemed like a kind of a charming guy, and just swell stuff. We got him some nice liquor going on for the for the Mitch panel that happened. That was postponed until after the dinner, which is quite an event in and of itself. I think that's going to be one of the major remembrances of that convention. Is going to be, for panel wise, going to be the Mitch panel.
Yeah, we didn't expect that to go quite as crazy as it did, but it went really well. I mean, everybody had a good time, and
no one freaked out because there was liquor everywhere in the in the panel. But
it was functionally an 18 actually a 21 plus panel, I guess, for the people that were drinking. But it's one of those things that you have to treat the guests like they're adults, because they are, and let them make the choices that they want to.
Yeah.
And it was entirely their choice to participate, and they participated and had a good time and got, a little toasty. And a lot of it is putting the option out there. It's like, do you want to do this? Yes, no. And they did, and they had fun. But that was certainly, it was not an impromptu panel. It was actually suggested several months back. So we were like, yeah, we're going to put it on the schedule and just roll with it.
I think what happened in the panel was impromptu, however.
Oh, it was.
Very much so. Well, I think we might be wrapping up just a little bit. Is there anything that you can, give us some insight into, as some, final any final remarks as your own impressions of the convention, and if you were to run it again this next year, given everything, all the green lights stay green, what direction you would like to take it to in 2014?
Well, if we roll again, we'll probably have a similar or perhaps smaller array of voice actors, have some different sets of production guests, and probably go with some of the comic folk. People really, really liked the behind-the-scenes stuff, because the voice actors, they can only say so much. But the people like the DHX folks and the comic creators, they're engaged with the fandom to a larger degree than the voice actors are, and or generally have a lot more to say. So if we do, we'll probably have a couple voice actors that we didn't have, and some different community guests, and perhaps a bunch of like the IDW folks. Because I mean, the comic is obviously still the hottest damn thing that IDW has.
Yeah, for sure. And Andy Price and Katie Cook, both fantastic people. They do stellar work, and everybody loves it. So
never a dull moment with those two. Ever.
Never a dull moment. But yeah. So, well, Chef Sandy, I appreciate having you on. Any other final comments or remarks before we let you go here?
There's still a lot of good that this fandom can do, and don't let assholes running shitty conventions or assholes running media get you down. Yeah. There's still lots of cool horse stuff coming up.
Nice. Fantastic. Okay. Again, it was wonderful having you on, Sandy. Some good final remarks there to think about for all you thinking about the 2014 conventions, which we will get back to on our final wrap-up segment of Canterlot Cross-Fade when we come back from break. Again, Chef Sandy of Bronyville, as well as Nightmare Night Styles. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. I'll have a good day.
Yep, you too.
Celestia Radio. All pony, all the time. Is your living room far too boring? Want something that seems out of this world? Look no further than Doctor Who's antique store. The Doctor gathers antiques that seem timeless from all around the world. It seems as if time hasn't affected his artifacts at all. Need a vase? How about an Egyptian vase used by Cleopatra herself? There are only 3 rooms. Don't ask about the noise, why he's in the back for a long time, and how we got the antiques. Just listen to these testimonials from satisfied ponies everywhere.
He went to the back for a long time. There was this noise, and then come back with exactly what I wanted in perfect condition.
He's always gone in the back for a while, but he does come back with exactly what you want. So I wonder how big it is back there.
I actually peeked in the back once. It was the doctor working on a phone box, but then he gave me what I wanted, and I left. Why a phone box?
So once again, if you need your antiques spotless and shiny, Dr. Hooves Antiques is the place for you.
Hi, Jeff Burgess here. I'm in a bit of a sword fight at the moment, but I wanted to let you know that you're listening to the greatest radio stream on the high seas, Celestia Radio. You can listen to it anywhere, 24 hours a day, even if you're on a pirate ship during a sword fight. Yarr!
And we are back, DJK, joined with DJ Shamrock. Time to wrap up another episode of Canterlot Cross-Fade. Chef Sandy, it was great having him on. I know I didn't get too many words in there edgewise, but I didn't go to the convention, and there's no point. I've always been a fan that if you don't have anything to say, then just don't fucking spew diarrhea of the mouth and make the show go longer than it is. So thanks, Shamrock, for taking care of all of that. You did a fantastic job as always.
Oh, thank you. It was, it's always good having people on that I know what the fuck they're talking about and are intelligent individuals.
It makes our lives as media folk a lot easier. And I think
much easier.
I think Val at Brony Steak could attest to that as well, but we won't go into the details as to why.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, here we are. At the end, we've looked over, quite a lot in terms of this last year, convention-wise, and just such the huge dynamics between what can make a convention go bad and what can make it go well. And it's always important to keep in mind with, just keep on keeping on. And, whenever you're curious or not sure of what a convention might bring, that's when you want to go to your media folks, and we'll help you out a little bit, because we've been there, we've been to most of them, and we can usually tell the warning signs of if this is going to be shit-tacular or if it's going to be a good convention. Of this last year, what do you think? What are your both those that you did go to and did not see, obviously? What do you think as far as the top ones and the bottom ones, as far as how they performed in 2013?
I gotta say, just from all the positive vibes I've gotten from Nightmare Night Dallas, of any con had to top it, I'd probably give it to that. I honestly never really give a shit about BronyCon. I kind of did in 2012. 2013 BronyCon just kind of happened. I feel like it was so overhyped that it reached hype critical mass, and then nothing, it just kind of petered out. And, I went to Midwest Brony Fest and Las Pegasus Unicon. Those were the two conventions that I hit up this year in 2013. As far as having a good time, enjoying my company, making memories, nothing can beat Las Pegasus Unicon. I mean, it's fucking Vegas, a road trip with some of my best friends, living the Vegas life. We had a suite. It's hard to beat just the absolute vibe of it that Vegas brought. The convention itself, oh man, so haphazard, so weak. But at the end of the day, we go to conventions, I don't want to say for ourselves, but for, our experiences, the friends, the people. If you go for just the panels and, oh my god, I laid eyes on Tara Strong, can you believe it? Everyone look at me and bow down with glory. There is a fucking 1,000 other people at that very moment that are doing the exact same thing at you. So hop off your fucking high horse. Go there with low expectations so that way you're not ready to have them brought down. And I think you're in for a great treat. I did the same thing with Midwest Brony Fest. I went with a good friend of mine, not a brony, never been to a convention before. He left the thing, in amazement, like, wow, I didn't know that was what the fuck you guys did. And I'm sure shit not going to go watch the show on a regular basis, but it's not as bad as I thought. And that was the same particular friend who was watching Tosh.0 with his dad. That was, John going, oh, look, that's what Kyle is. It's the ponies. It's the bronies. Oh, shit. Never mind. Dad, look away. But you know, both were. I was about to say both were equally awesome for different reasons, but that's a total fucking lie. I liked LPU more. LPU was pretty damn awesome. The convention sucked. The experience was great. Midwest Brony Fest. I mean, for SpaghettiCon 2013, it was well handled, and you know, we hung out with Michael A for a straight week doing nothing but you know what, and it was a fucking great time.
It was a great time.
I mean, that's basically it for me. 2013.
Yeah. You know, and I'll say this always for me, conventions are an excuse to go hang out with people that you love. And that's what it's always been for me. There's not much that I haven't done at a convention. So, you know, it's the same old dog and pony show for me. But it's always a new experience as far as the experience itself and the people that you experience it with. And that's my encouragement for 2014. When you go out there, no matter which convention you go to, make sure that you're going for the right reasons. And you'll never steer wrong. You know, when it comes to that. BronyCon, obviously going to be a fair bet for 2014. They're not going anywhere. You know, other conventions that have done well, EF&W, it got off to a teetery start in 2012. You know, it still went under some scrutiny in 2013, but I don't think it's really going anywhere. That's up to Bajodi and some of those other guys. EQLA done fantastically. Karen, she was one of the gals that helped out. She did VIP relations for Nightmare Nights Dallas and did a fantastic job. So, you know, that's one to look out for if you're on the West Coast. And, of course, Nightmare Nights Dallas, that's going to be the other one I'm going to plug. I think it's going to do really well if they decide to run this next year. Judging by Sandy's tone, I talked to him right after the convention, and after talking to him now, I think it's a fair chance that they're gonna go in 2014 and do it again. The main question before wasn't one of money; it was one of do they want to. And I think it seems like they feel like they're ready. They know what they've done, and I think they can pull it off again. So we'll see more about that. Well, of course, we'll keep you up to date on all of that good stuff and all things convention related. Don't forget, next week's episode of Canterlot Cross-Fade, we're going to get back into Celestia Radio history and continue with our series on that. Part 2 of that series, episode 6 of Canterlot Cross-Fade, next Sunday night, I apologize. 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. The show lasts for 2 hours. Tune in then. And, of course, don't forget our Season 4 My Little Pony Friendship is Magic post-show throwdown next week right here on Celestia Radio. Anything else from you, KB, before? I think we've got to go out to break. But with DJK Brony, I have been DJ Shamrock here on Canterlot Cross-Fade.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Shamrock. Make sure you stay tuned to all things Celestia Radio. Right after this, don't go anywhere. We have another great show / installment, whatever the fuck you want to call it, of the Pixel Perfect Pony Show with Allegro and friends. DJ Silence is going to be on there for sure. I think Perry, ex-DJ and member of CR, is making a round again. So you don't want to go anywhere. It's a fantastic show. Great way to wrap up your day here. And also just be sure to stay tuned to the Celestia Radio website. It's brand new. We're doing updates. And, of course, we just love seeing people on our IRCs and on our social media. So with that, we've been your hosts, DJK and DJ Shamrock. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 5 of Canterlot Cross-Fade, and we will see you next week.
This shit's divine. It's like the singing of fucking angels. Shouts out to Clever Pony. Shouts out to Pinkie Pie Swear for the beat. What up? Actually, I changed it a little bit. Yo, this joint's called, Pony Swag.
Did you enjoy the show? Want to catch even more batshit antics next week? Well, tune in next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another installment of Canterlot Cross-Fade with host DJK Brony and DJ Shamrock. Only here on Celestia Radio.